Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. ATP Finals 2023 final preview and prediction video for Novak Djokovic versus Jannik Sinner. This is going to be a blockbuster match. I'm telling you now, you must tune in for this one because it's going to be a fantastic end to the ATP season, and I can't wait to just dive into how this one's going to play out. Can't wait to watch it as well. As always, we will be doing a live watch along for this one, so make sure you tune into that. Before we break it down, remember to that like button, do subscribe if you are new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Thank you to all of you. Honestly, you guys are all legends. On top of that, to all our members, you guys are the best. Okay, let's get into this. So, the finale of what has been a very, very exciting week or so. I mean, it's all come down to this, and I'm first of all going to give myself a pat on the back. 1 second. Because I, for once, got something right, and that's a prediction for this final. I predicted Djokovic versus Sinner. I don't remember who I predicted to win out of the two, probably Djokovic, and we'll see whether that's still the case come the end of this video. Djokovic is looking to make history and become the standalone player on 7 ATP Tour Finals wins, and he would be creating yet another piece of history, surpassing Roger Federer and standing alone by himself, as he has tended to do in pretty much most records that he's been chasing, Grand Slams, numbers at 101, etc., etc. For Jannik Sinner, he is looking to create history himself as the first Italian on the ATP side to win the ATP Tour Finals, and it would be a really sweet victory as well, given he's at home in Turin. So these two have actually played before, not just in the past, but in this tournament. Sinner coming out on top in 3 sets. So this is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to mainly focus on their route to this stage first as a first port of call. So how they looked and who they played. Then we're going to talk about the head-to-head, but I'm really only going to focus on the match they just played because it's so recent and it's on exactly the same surface. It's only a few days ago that it happened. I just think it's worth touching on that, and then I will tactically and technically try and break it down as succinctly as possible, and then give you guys my predictions. So let's quickly go into how and who they played at the ATP Tour Finals and how they found themselves. Sorry, even at this stage. So Djokovic played Rune, Sinner, and Hurkacz all in the group stages. Wins over Hurkacz and Rune in 3 sets. Lost to Sinner in a fantastic match, again in 3 sets. Then today played Alcaraz. Looked very good in terms of how clinical he was. Incredible returning display. Not just returning though. I thought he was so good off the ground from the baseline. Really good coming forward as well. And the shot tolerance he showed was second to none. I was very, very good against Alcaraz today, and his defensive capabilities were just maxed out. And it was a comprehensive victory in the end, winning 6-3, 6-2. And it wasn't as close as people were expecting it to be, and that just shows how good he is. For Jannik Sinner, some really impressive wins, beating Tsitsipas in straight sets, then Djokovic, of course, in 3, then Rune in 3 sets, and Medvedev in 3 as well. The Medvedev match, which he played today, he looked good again, winning 6-3, 6-7, 6-1. So the second set was a tiebreaker, but to then breadstick Medvedev in the deciding set, I think is super impressive. And again, showing the qualities that we know he has, which is fantastic hitting from the back of the court, great drive volleys, shows some good touch in and around the net as well. But one thing that was really fine was that backhand line, and we'll talk about how that might play out in this match as well. Before we do get into it tactically, though, I wanted to bring up this stat from Tennis Insights, which I think is a fantastic stat to talk about. I just think it's really interesting, so I'll bring it up quickly now. So you can see here Novak Djokovic against Jannik Sinner. So Tennis Insights gives you a score out of 10, and there's lots of different factors that come into the scores, and the scores are categorized by shots. So serve, return, forehand, backhand. There's also some other, interesting, percentages type stats as well they put together. But This one is just for the more simple version of it. And of course, you can see a Sinner won 7-5, 6-7, 7-6, a deciding set tiebreaker. When's the last time you've seen Djokovic lose one of those? Not in a long time. And you can see how well both served. 9.3 out of 10 for Djokovic. The tour average is 8.1. And for Sinner, it was 8.7. 7.6 on return for Djokovic, 7.3 for Sinner. So Djokovic actually topping the serve and return stats. But where the difference came in was the forehand and also the backhand side. Sinner was at a 9.3, which is absolutely phenomenal. And Djokovic had a 9. And on the backhand side, he was at an 8.5 Sinner, 8.1 for Djokovic. So, Djokovic has, in terms of, I would say in history, the best two-handed backhand of all time. For Sinner to be able to not just match it, but actually perform even better on that side, it is just an incredible feat. So how does the match then play out? So what happened in that match was Sinner was extremely aggressive. He was clinical. They both had 3 break points each. Sinner took 2 out of the 3. Djokovic just a single 1 out of the 3. And he served very well. Served some big serves or unreturnables in big points when he was potentially in trouble on his serve or even a break point down. And then really where the difference came was the tiebreaker, that deciding set tiebreaker. Sinner managed to play it better. He didn't make many mistakes. There were a couple of error-strewn forehands by Djokovic, and Sinner ran away with that tiebreaker in the end, which was just very weird to see because Djokovic normally goes into lockdown mode. He normally is so good in tiebreakers, but I have noticed that when he has to play more than one tiebreaker in a match, he can struggle. And there's actually one of our subscribers talked about that, that maybe he's not as generally speaking, he's one of the best ever in tiebreakers, but maybe as of late, it takes a lot out of him playing just one tiebreaker, and then to then play another one in a match in on the same day can potentially maybe not just play on his mind from a mental aspect, but also from a physical aspect. It can take a lot out of you because it means you've played a full set of 6 all, right? It's not easy. But his conditioning, generally speaking, is really good. Looked very good today against Alcaraz. No problems there. Same with Sinner. So how does this one play out? So what's going to be crucial to look out for? So I'm not going to go into it in minute detail because I think we've just seen this match. But I think where this match is going to be won or lost, one of the biggest factors for me is the ad court exchange. Sinner was so good at being able to stick with Djokovic's backhand, not even just stick with it, but then actually rush Djokovic in some of those exchanges and come out on top in them. Not just utilizing the backhand, but also the into-out forehand, because he's able to then defend that forehand corner so well on the run himself, and as Djokovic, to be fair. But what I thought Sinner also did really well in that was coming forward, being aggressive, taking the ball out of the air with the swing volleys. Looked really good there, serving a volley at times as well. Served extremely big against Djokovic, and yeah, that definitely helped him. And he had some phenomenal return games against Djokovic as well, which, look, again, Djokovic served really well for the most part, but Sinner was clinical in big moments, and he was actually a break up in that deciding set. And yes, he got broken back, and he could have, in my opinion, faltered and then lost that tiebreaker and really struggled in terms of the mental aspect of, coming over the disappointment of being a breakup and then getting taken to a tiebreaker. But he stayed strong, and that is a real tick for me. And of course, wins over Djokovic, Medvedev, and Rune, all players that he had never beaten before, to then beat them in the last few months. For me, it can only boost your confidence, right? So he'll go into this really believing he can beat Djokovic. And the backhand line against Medvedev, he hit so many winners today against Medvedev. He will back himself to go big there. And Djokovic is very good at defending the forehand corner, but I'd argue he's better on the defending the backhand corner. And even as someone with incredible defensive capabilities as Djokovic is still going to struggle with the amount of just pace and placement that he was able to generate from that backhand side today, because Medvedev is a very good defender himself in his own right. In terms of Djokovic, so he served really well against Sinner for the most part. But what happened was there was a few big points, and it was really how he managed that final set tiebreaker. I think he'll try and manage that a little bit better if a tiebreaker does come into place in this final. And I also think the way he played against Alcaraz today was very good, especially on the forehand side. I think what he did is he went back a little bit to what he's best at, which is trying to kill you with not just power and pace with the court, but depth. Yes, the courts are quick, but if you hit deep into court on any single court, on any surface, it will always give you bang for your buck. And he's the best in the business when it comes to hitting the ball deeper than anybody. Sinner's very good, to be fair, at taking those deep balls, soaking them up, and actually generating pace of his own. So it'll be intriguing to see how Djokovic fares against Sinner, because I actually think against Alcaraz, it's easier to potentially nullify him a little bit by hitting with a lot more depth. Against Sinner, maybe not as much. And what Djokovic did really well against Alcaraz and has done in his prior matches is hit fantastic angles, especially on the forehand and backhand side, to try and open up the court. That normally would work, but Sinner's so athletic that normally he would then get to that next ball, even if it's completely into the open space at an angle. So it's going to be intriguing to see what Djokovic does. Djokovic came forward quite a lot against Sinner in the last match, and he got picked off at the net quite a bit. And in fact, I should have the stats here in front of me in terms of net points won. So yeah, 21 out of 31, which is 68%, which is actually not terrible, but it's not amazing against Sinner. Could have been better, and there's some crucial points where he lost at the net. And I have a feeling that the match is going to play out relatively similar. It was a high-level match. Uh, in the round robin, 20 aces for Djokovic, 15 for Sinner. Win is unfortunate. It's 46-14 for Djokovic, unreal. 37-11 for Sinner. It was a really high quality match. If we can get a similar match to that, we're in for a real treat. And I think both guys will deliver, because Djokovic will be fresh after a straight set victory of Alcaraz. Sinner played earlier in the day, so again, he'll feel fresh as well. In terms of prediction, I'm going to go with a bold call here. There's not many players that have beaten Djokovic in consecutive matches, and I'm going to go with that to happen. I'm going to go for Jannik Sinner to win in 3 sets. I think the crowd really helps Sinner in the match against Djokovic. Generally speaking, the crowd, if they're very negative and they boo Djokovic or they jeer him, he tends to actually let it fuel him, and it normally helps his case. I do wonder whether the crowd doing it in Turin might affect him more. One, because, well, not just one, the only reason, because in the past in Italy and Turin as well, they've really supported him. They've really been behind him. This is the first year that I've seen in Italy where he's got booed, and it's because he was playing against Sinner, and obviously they're going to support their compatriot. But a little bit of a shame. I don't agree with the booing and the jeering, etc. But it actually looked like it did affect him a little bit against Sinner, which is weird to say, because normally, as I said, it would fuel him. But actually, it looked like at times he did let it affect him mentally, and then it adversely affected his game. So intriguing to see how that factor plays out as well. So I'm going to go for Sinner in 3 sets to get another victory over Djokovic and end the season on a real high. Let me know in the comment section below who you think is going to win. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you on the next video.